good to see you. My name is Miss Sarah from the Fair Lawn Library, and welcome to STEMbrarians, where we talk all things about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I'm so excited to see you, my friends. This STEMbrarian episode is brought to you by the book The Coolest Simple Science Experiment. Awesome things to do with your parents, babysitters, and other adults by Rachel Miller, Holly Homer, and Jamie Harrington. I found today's very neat and very popular science experiment within these pages. So many thanks. Many thanks to these great authors. You could check it out at thefairlawnlibrary.org. So speaking of popular, we're going to have fun with this very bubbly experiment. I hope you friends know what it is. It's one of my very favorite summertime activities, making bubbles. Now, I've always wondered, what makes a bubble? How do bubbles form? And why do they pop? I hope you've been asking these questions too, because today we're going to find out. So today's STEMbrarian question of the day is, which bubble solution makes longer lasting bubbles? Today we're going to be test driving two bubble solutions. One, does just plain old soap and water make longer lasting bubbles? Or does a solution of soap, water, and our secret ingredient, cornstarch, does that make bigger bubbles? Let's go find out. Let's begin with some backup research. So this comes directly from the book 101 Coolest Simple Science Experiments. According to the authors, bubbles are, to quote, made up of a gas that's trapped between layers of soap and water. So when we create bubbles, the soap molecules are polarized. What does that mean? This means, according to the book, one side of the molecule loves water. We can call that hydrophiliac, which means water loving. And the other side hates water, called hydrophobic, or fear of water, in fancy scientific terms. The soap molecules arrange themselves as a bubble trapped around the trapped air. And if we increase the surface area, that makes bubbles last longer. Let's begin, everyone. So first, we're going to need our two big bowls. Now I'm going to take my cups of water. So there are 3 cups of water in here. We're going to very carefully dump our solutions into the bowl. Good. All right. Now I'm going to pre-put our spoons in here just to get ready to mix up. Next, we're going to add, are you ready? 1 cup of dish soap to both of these bowls. So let's very carefully measure. That's a lot of soap. Two. Very good. All right. So now let's set it to the side. So now I want you to take your label. So you're going to make a label that says solution 1, dish soap plus water. And we're going to attach it to one of the bowls. So I'm going to attach it to the one on my right, your left. We're going to mix the one solution. All right, we're going to let that settle. Oh, if you get the label a little wet, that's okay. We're going to put this one to the side. And then for our next one, we're going to add, get ready for this, a cup of cornstarch. For our next solution, we're going to add a half a cup of cornstarch. Okay, you ready? Ooh. And very gently mix it. You want to make sure all the cornstarch melts. Sorry, dissolves. All right, so now we have our two solutions. So I'm going to write on the cornstarch one, solution 2, corn starch plus dish soap plus water. And label it. Now for the best results, ideally you're going to leave your solutions alone and let them settle for at least for 12 hours. So I'm going to go time skip. I'll be back. All right, 12 hours have passed. So let's try out these bubble solutions. So now on to our experiment. So for our first test, we are going to test out our regular bubble solution. So solution 1. Okay, I've dipped my solution in. I've dipped my bubble wand into the solution. Now hold this to the side. Okay, now let's test. Three tests with my bubble solution. With just the regular solution, I got some pretty decent bubbles, but just one or two, and they lasted maybe a couple of seconds. But I would say most of the time I either got really tiny bubbles or the solution would pop before leaving my bubble wand. Let's try the second one, and let's see if we fare any better. This is a very messy experiment. It's my very first conclusion. My second conclusion is I observed during my experiment was that my first solution that had just dish soap and water, it created bubbles, but more often than not, it only created a single bubble and it popped before it even formed a bubble. For my second solution, I noticed it was far more likely to produce one bubble, and I even got a couple of bubbles. So we got three a couple of times. It sometimes popped, but it was far more likely to at least come to a full formed bubble as opposed to just popping in the bubble wand. Why is that? I'm glad you asked. So according to the book, the cornstarch increases the surface tension in soap bubbles, making these bubbles harder to pop than ordinary bubbles. For extra credit, try adding glycerin, or, as you know it, For extra credit, you can also try adding gelatin to your bubbles. Maybe you can add gelatin and cornstarch, or you can play around with using, instead of dish soap, use dish detergent or any type of other combination. I hear glycerin makes very, very big bubbles. I hope you had fun with this experiment. I know I certainly did. And please feel free to comment with your own homemade bubble solution. Thanks for joining me on STEMbrarians. We'll see you next week. Bye, friends.